You have probably heard that a lot is going on with the so-called NGO rescue ships right now. Sea-Watch 3 has once again been impounded. Another female German ship captain is facing major criminal charges in Italy. She actually rammed an Italian Coast Guard ship on purpose. However, there has been a whole new kind of tragedy. Nearly 50 illegal aliens have died, and this time they didn't drown. They died in a bombing in Tripoli. The death toll is currently around 45, with over 80 more injured. Currently, there are thousands of illegal aliens in Libyan detention centers who are awaiting deportation. These are people from all around the world who left their peaceful countries and traveled great distances to enter a war zone. They were all lured to the area by European NGOs who are trafficking migrants into Europe. Despite what the media alleges, most of these people are young males and most are from middle-class families. They have paid thousands of euros in travel expenses and fees to criminal gangs. They are certainly not fleeing war or poverty as the media falsely claims. If the European NGO ships did not exist, none of these people would be in Tripoli. Criminal gangs would not be making millions exploiting these people. None of this would be happening if it was not for fanatical NGOs and their wealthy elitist donors intentionally creating a problem and then falsely claiming to be fighting the problem they themselves created. So here is what happened in Tripoli. The LNA allegedly bombed a migrant detention center that housed over 600 illegal aliens. We will probably never know the full story because all sides are denying everything. However, the migrants were probably being used as human shields by a jihadist group. The bombing took place at a government complex where you have some buildings being used to house migrants and some buildings being used by militants. I would not at all be surprised if militants were inside the same buildings as the migrants. Arab jihadists are notorious for this. In this respect, I believe the Pashtun Taliban in Afghanistan is actually less radical. They will leave an urban area if civilians are getting bombed. The Islamist and Salafist groups in the Middle East will set up shop in the most crowded place they can find and intentionally use civilians as shields. They will tell the people that if they get killed by bombs, they will be martyrs, and if they flee, they are traitors who lacked faith in Allah. So let me break down a few things. In 2011, Libya had the #1 economy in the entire continent of Africa. Things were going well. Besides the oil industry, they had become North Africa's manufacturing powerhouse. It was ruled by a secular dictator who was fighting Islamic radicals and had been on his best behavior for 10 years. Italy was building interstates in Libya, and in exchange, Libya was repatriating Italy's illegal aliens back to Africa. Suddenly, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and John McCain decided that more than anything else, Libya was in need of an Islamic jihad. The Obama administration was joined by the Sarkozy administration in France and the Islamic dictatorship in Qatar in toppling Gaddafi. The country of Libya was destroyed. Later, Obama endorsed something called the Government of National Accord, or GNA. The UN followed suit and also endorsed the GNA. The Libyan House of Representatives in Tobruk broke away, forming a rival government commonly referred to as the Libyan National Army, or LNA. The LNA was supported by Egypt and Chad. Other countries like Italy and Russia formed relations with both governments. Russia was active in assisting the LNA in their fight against ISIS. Meanwhile, the GNA became closely associated with the Muslim Brotherhood as well as hardline Salafist fighter groups. With ISIS defeated in Libya, the LNA turned its full attention to the GNA a few months ago. Currently, the LNA is getting shipments of weapons from Egypt and the United Arab Emirates. Both of these countries oppose the GNA because they both oppose the Muslim Brotherhood. The GNA is being supplied with weapons by Turkey and Qatar. I suspect that Turkey is also bringing in Salafists from Syria to fight for the GNA. A big rumor in North Africa is that when Donald Trump met with the Egyptian president on April 9th, he secretly gave the president permission to let the LNA take down the GNA. The GNA currently only controls a shrinking chunk of northwestern Libya, basically Tripoli, Misrata, and a few other cities. The commander of the LNA is Khalifa Haftar. He was a Libyan general that Gaddafi famously sent into Chad decades ago. When Haftar and his force of about 200 soldiers were captured, Gaddafi disavowed them. For the next 20 years, Haftar lived in Virginia and worked for the CIA. He was one of the numerous insurgents the Obama administration inserted into Libya. So this is where we are at now. Young males, largely from middle-class homes, many with dreams of playing professional sports ball or becoming hip-hop singers, leave their peaceful countries, travel thousands of miles, and enter an active war zone in Libya. They pay to be smuggled into GNA-controlled Tripoli and Misrata. These are the two cities where most of the attempts are made to be picked up and trafficked by European NGOs. These people pay thousands of euros to criminal gangs for spots on tiny boats. Some of the boats are provided by the European NGOs themselves. Some NGO rescue ships dump inflatable boats in the water in violation of international law and then wait for the gangs to come and fill them up. These criminal gangs do not care what actually happens to the migrants. Often the boats are overloaded and begin sinking instantly. The fact is, when Italy cracked down on the NGOs, the number of drowning deaths plummeted. The NGOs are luring people into dangerous positions. If there were no NGO ships, there would be no drownings at all. Italy is funding the Libyan Coast Guard. They have relations with both the GNA and the LNA. Italian-funded ships are actively trying to prevent the criminal gangs from delivering the migrants to the NGOs. There are multiple cases now where NGO ships were pursued by Libyan vessels and the NGOs refused to turn over the migrants. Under international law, any lawfully rescued person at sea must be taken to the nearest safe port. Even if it was too dangerous to turn them over to the Libyan Coast Guard, the nearest safe port would be in Tunisia. However, for the NGOs, these are just human pawns. They obviously don't care that they are luring people out to sea to drown. So they probably also don't care that they just got a bunch of people bombed to death either. However, there is one thing we can be sure of. The media will continue to lie. They will continue to say that people from Senegal and Bangladesh are war refugees fleeing a war zone. They will continue to lie about the age and the gender of the so-called refugees. The media will continue to depict criminal human traffickers as heroes, and they will continue to aid and abet in getting people killed. All right, click the like button, post a comment, tell me what you think about this, and please consider making a donation to this YouTube channel, as YouTube has mass demonetized all my videos. And I would like to thank Michael, Hogg, Stephen, and Marish for making donations. And please support my sponsor, Patriotic Flags, the online flag store, patriotic-flags.com. Get yourself a Betsy Ross flag. And click the subscribe button. New video every few days.